Hey guys, today we'll take a look at one of the square box Marx prehistoric sets, or transitional sets as they're called. This is the Marx Prehistoric Times number 3394 from 1960. I had one of these as a kid. My mom bought it for me in 1960, I think for my birthday in 1964, early 1964. And we used to walk down to the strip mall when we lived in Athens, Georgia, and I saw that so many times. The dealer at this hobby shop, the owner of the hobby shop, had that play set. It was all set up on a big board, and they had painted like terrain and all, like a lake, and it was pretty spectacular. And I really wanted that thing bad, and we didn't have much money, and my mom really wanted to get it for me, but she said that she would try to get it, as a birthday present. And I looked at that thing for weeks. So finally, my birthday came and she bought it for me. And I think it was like $6 and change, which was like a fortune to us back then, in 1964. And, it was so great getting that thing, and I played with it. Of course, the box, it didn't survive at all. And the contents, though, I still have all of those, and it came with cavemen. Now, according to most sources you see, these square box sets did not come with cavemen, but that one did, and it was not the Montgomery Ward exclusive. There is one that it's generally understood that came with a set of 6 cavemen, but that was not it, because I bought that in a hobby shop. Unless they managed to get it from Ward somehow. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what kind of trading and finagling went on there. But anyway, this is one of the sources of information I use. This is Plastic Figure and Playset Collector, number 64, December 1999. And they have a very extensive article in here about the history of Marx Prehistorics. And they mention, as a matter of fact, they even give like a listing of it here. Let's see, is that it? Actually, no. Sorry. The Montgomery Ward exclusive is mentioned here right after the transitional sets. It was stamped on the box 48-2748, and it says probably Marx 3393. And like all of these square box sets, it came with like 31 dinosaurs, and this one originally came with the cavemen. And according to all the sources I've seen, that's supposed to be the only square box set that came with the cavemen. But I'm thinking that from what I remember, this 3394 is the one that I had as a kid, and it did come with cavemen because I still have them, along with the original dinosaurs and the 4 terrain pieces, and and the palm trees and ferns and such. And anyway, I bought this set, this 3394, from an eBay seller several years ago. And it wasn't quite complete, but it had all the basic stuff there. And I could tell, pretty much what was originally in it, but I did add a sleek T-Rex to it to make a total of 2 sleek T-Rexes, because I remember the original set I had 2 of the sleek T-Rexes and 1 pot-bellied T-Rex. So I did that. But anyway, let's take a look at this box. Beautiful. It's a dark brown box. The other square box sets, as I remember, were a lot lighter colored. And of course, there's Magic Marxy. Another great Magic Marxy toy from the world's largest toy maker. And, it's got this gorgeous scene here with A potbelly T-Rex. Looks like he's having lunch at the expense of a Plateosaurus there, and some other Marx dinos tromping around there. Trachodon in the water. You got the Chronosaurus down here underwater. Really great graphics. I mean, just classic stuff. And there's the side of the box. Of course, you know, you got some tape pulls because they had heavy staples and they taped these things. So these boxes, I doubt, unless you could find a warehouse find of unopened boxes, I doubt you could find one without some kind of damage. For one thing, you couldn't get into the thing without, you had to tear loose these big staples, you know, to get into the thing. And you know, these square box sets are not hard to find even now. They turn up on eBay, and it, you know, from different dealers, but they're almost never complete. And I'm going to show you in this video what constitutes a complete set. And the mix of dinosaurs were often different. It varied in these square box sets, and I'll show you some of the variations possible. In general, there were 31 dinosaurs in these square box sets, and the back of it is, you know, it's pretty well blank except for that. But there's the important stuff. That's the business end of that box. And here is the standard little booklet that came with these. And this is from 1960, so these had only started like 3 years before 1957 with that, you know, the 3390 or whatever, the long box set. Looks like somebody was making notes on the back there. You see this a lot of times, and I don't mind that. That's provenance, you know. I don't know what it refers to. It's like a singer with either a model number or I guess it's a model number. And Macmillan orange with numbers after it, and none in Heath or Craig. I don't. That's lost to the ages. Never know what all that refers to. But anyway, you got these little booklets, one per set, and they also gave these things away, you know, in hobby shops to advertise the Marx dinosaurs. And they made thousands of these things, and they were a dime a dozen back in the day. Of course, you know, they gave them away, but now they're not so plentiful because these paper items were often discarded, especially by kids over the years. They did not withstand the rigors of the hands of children for the most part. And this was included in this original set that was mostly complete that I bought from an eBay seller. And because of the way the colors match up on the mold groups and all that, I'm pretty sure that was the original stuff that they had because they came in the set originally. Here's the timeline. Of course, if you guys have seen my other videos, you've seen this, but I'm going over it really quick here for benefit of just being thorough more than anything. And there's the Brontosaurus, and of course we know it's an Apatosaurus, and paleontology keeps changing the facts, but by God, in the 60s it was a Brontosaurus, and 50s and 60s, and the toys are Brontosaurus, so there. And there's the two duckbills, Hadrosaurus and Trachodon, and Pteranodon and Kylosaurus. Triceratops, Tyrannosaurus. Okay, even though the sleek T-Rex had made its appearance by now, that's still hearkening back to the old potbelly T-Rex, which was still being put in these sets. As a matter of fact, this one had a potbelly in it too. So I'm going to get to that. Oh yeah, before I progress further, let me show you the inside of the box. It does have an insert in here that's still here. I'm certain this was the original cardboard insert. It just helps divide the pieces. And when these were new, they came with these paper bags that were printed on them with the contents. Either, you know, it might say dinosaurs, it might say cavemen, it might say trees, whatever. I don't have any of those. Not many of those survive. I just keep mine separated with plastic bags. I'd like to have a few of the paper bags that are printed, just for a piece of Marx history, but I do not have any of those. I don't think many of them are still around. And there you go. That's the box. Now we'll get to the components. Okay, the components are all lined up there. And I'm going to explain all of this to you. First of all, the terrain features. This four-piece terrain group is in thick, hard plastic. Here's the lake. Has nicely painted water there. And this was also available in other play sets Marx made. The wagon train, I think, and a couple of others. Here's the small mountain, like the ridge. There's the cave. And here's the flatter, larger mountain. And, I still have my original ones from all the way back in 1964. So they're pretty tough. And you see them turn up, Sometimes they're cracked, or scratched, or the paint might be a little messed up on the lake, or it might, or they might have melts. This hard plastic had a chemical reaction with certain rubber, like creepy crawlers or jigglers, or the rubbery bugs you might get out of a gumball machine, and it would tend to melt the hard plastic, and it would leave a melt mark on it. Sometimes the rubber creature would stick to it. But those are the common flaws. But all in all, those terrain pieces held up really well. And we're going to go with this now. Here is a color matching revised mold group, all 8 of them, and they're marbled. This is really sought after by collectors. And it's really hard to replace. If you're missing one or one of them gets broken, I've only had one Marx dinosaur get broken, and I couldn't figure out how it happened. It's for some reason it happened in the box, and I'll get to that at some point in another video. But and it just happened to be a color matching set of figures from a prized box set. But anyway, let's go with this. These are 8 figures, and here's the Ankylosaurus. Now, the Marx designation for the revised mold group, there's the cross hatching on the stomach there. The Marx designation for that is PL977. And here's the revised Triceratops. Now, this marbling is really subtle on some of these, and it varied. With some pieces, they were starkly marbled. With some color matching mold groups, I have some like that. I'll show eventually. But with some of them, it's kind of slight like this. It just depends on how much of the reground they mixed in with the regular plastic when they ran them. They did that for a couple of different reasons. One, it was aesthetically pleasant. It kind of dressed up the uniformity of the look of the colors, and also it saved money because they got to use that reground, like the recycled plastic, excess plastic and such. And it has some drawbacks too. It would clog the molds sometimes if they overdid it, so they had to be careful how they handled that. And that's pretty nice marbling there on that sail for that Dimetrodon. It has some white in there and like a real dark gray, maybe a dark blue. And here is the revised Trachodon that stands up much better than the medium mold group Trachodon that came before it. And here's a nice piece. This sleek T-Rex You can see there part of the marbling. You're liable to get any color drizzled in with this marbling, and that makes these unique. You didn't get that with the later plastic. See, it's got some white in the tail there and a lot of white right there. But with that later plastic, after into the 70s, when they didn't have the lead-based paint for color pigment, that shiny waxy plastic, they were so uniform that they paled beside the variety of color you got with the older pieces. Here's the Brontosaurus. And on top of that, you can see the small mole circles on the feet there. That signifies that it's a Brontosaurus from the revised mold group as opposed to the large mold group. And here's the medium mold group in light gray. Here's the Hadrosaurus. Sorry, I started to say something. I'm showing things and trying to tell things at the same time. Getting off track. But hey, you know, we're having fun. We're looking at toy dinosaurs, so it's all good. Great detail on these. Here's the Ankylosaurus from the medium mold group. Designation for the medium mold group, PL750. Probably doesn't matter to most people, but it's just Marx trivia at this point. There's the Allosaurus. You can tell it's a medium mold group Allosaurus because it's got the one toe sticking out on the side there. The revised mold group Allosaurus didn't have that. And here's the Stegosaurus. And the Pteranodon. And I've showed these before in some of my other videos, so I'm going to kind of not dally too long on this. Pteranodon. And then we come to some color variation here. These are the two small mold groups. There's 7 in each. This brown was a new color that was introduced in 1959 with the square box sets. Here's one of the Plateosaurus from that mold group. Of course, these are all color matching. That's the way Marx did it. They'd give you the whole mold group and they'd be color matching. That's why that is not, that looks like clay or something on there. Could probably clean that off, and I'm not that worried about it. It's not going to hurt the plastic. Anyway, it's kind of hard to replace some of these. You know, if you just have like a portion of the color matching mold group, you can do it, but sometimes you have to look long and hard to find one that matches. I have boxes of extra toy dinosaurs in my basement, and I could not find a suitable Allosaurus to replace the one I was talking about that somehow got broken. I probably would never be able to find an exact match because it has some marbling, as I remember. But there's the Cynognathus. But, you know, I was hoping to find one like approximate. And I had to end up just putting a revised mold group one that was extremely approximate. I may try to repair that at some point. I don't know. Maybe use some sort of model cement or something on it. I'm not so sure it would hold up well. I've never had to glue any of these back. I mean, they just don't break. That I was shocked when I saw that one had a broken leg, you know. Here's the Sphenacodon. This is the other shot of the small mold group in the green. And there's the Triceratops. Cynognathus. One of the Plateosaurs. The other one, and there are slight differences in these, but we're not going to delve into that much minutia. I don't want this video to go an hour. Here is finely sculpted Dimetrodon in the green, and here is the other one in that color matching mold group. And that, I think that might be maybe dirt or something. I don't know. I don't believe these were marbled at all. And now that's 28 dinosaurs. There are 8 in the revised mold group, 6 in the medium mold group, 7 each in 2 shots of the small mold group. So basically you have 8 and 6 is 14. 14 there is 28. Now you've got some other ones they threw in here. Oftentimes they would throw in an extra sleek T-Rex, so you'd have 2. That's the way my original set was, so that's what I did with this. Here is one in the gray. Of course, this is a classic Marx dino and a favorite among most Marx dinosaur collectors. And here is another favorite, maybe even more so, the pot-bellied T-Rex that they threw in here from the large mold group, which was not included in this set. This is in the very light gray. Yeah, these pot-bellied T-Rexes, they're not as common as the other ones. And the pot-bellied T-Rex designation is just what collectors call it because they got the fat belly, you know. Here's the premium piece. My original one had one of these metallic silver Chronosaurus, and I put one in here, you know, to honor that. Tried to recreate my original set as much as I could. And as a matter of fact, this is probably the original one I had. I have all of those still, but I have duplicates of some of these, like that. I don't know, 3 or 4 different metallic silver Chronosaurus. So this might be the original one. It might be a duplicate that got lost in the shuffle, but it's just like my original. So now we'll look at the cavemen. And yes, mine came with 6 cavemen. It's not just the ones you got from Montgomery Ward that had the cavemen. Sometimes they put the cavemen in some of the other square box sets, because mine had it. These are in the yellowish cream color, and they're the same 6 poses that I've explained before. That first one was a guy crouching there. He's cleaning an animal, and here's the little short dude with the spear. And here's the guy walking with the club. This is probably the most common of the original caveman colors, this cream, yellowish cream color. Dude with the rock is getting ready to brain something. And here is the one with the stone axe and knife. Very nice. And the other crouching guy with the rock banging gig. Trying to either make something or whatever. I don't know. Maybe start a fire. I don't know. But there you go. There's all the cavemen. It had the full mold group of the palm trees, all 4. And there's all the leaves or fronds. You can, I mean, I've gone over those in depth before in some of my other videos. And I'll go ahead and show these trunks, though. These are hard plastic. This is the large double trunk. This is the large single trunk. And then you had 2 of these small double trunks. And of course you can mix and match the leaves, and you know, you just stick them down on the post on the end of the trees there. And over here you have the bases that are in hard plastic for the ferns there. And it came with 4 ferns and 2 3-leaf ferns and 2 of these 4-leaf ferns, and you can mix and match these. The post on the bottom of the ferns stick down in the base hole. These are soft plastic here. And sometimes you do see those broken, especially the older ones in the dark green that were a little bit more rigid. But These that came a little later after that first run of long box sets, they're a little bit more pliable and resilient. And you know, that's pretty much it. That covers the whole thing. There are 31 dinosaurs in this because there are 28 there, as we talked about. And then they added a potbelly T-Rex. They added an extra sleek T-Rex, and then here's the premium piece, the metallic silver Chronosaurus. You know, so 31. And let's see, do we want to go over anything else real quick here? Like I said, it's fairly common. You can still find them from toy dealers and on eBay. A complete set like this in a nice box, and believe me, even though that's got some tape tears and stuff, that compared to what you're going to find for sale when you start looking for this stuff, that's a nice box. But you know, probably around, I don't know, maybe 300, maybe 4 by now. I don't know, because I haven't shopped for this stuff in quite a while, but that's what it was back when I was looking for it and keeping more of an eye on it on eBay with safe searches and such. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to try to set this up for you the way a dino kid would have set it up back in the day. So there's the setup. This set had a lot of dinos, and you could do a lot of different things with it. 31 dinosaurs. The cavemen made it really cool. I mean, you could act out your 1 million years BC storylines, you know, and if we'd have only had a Raquel Welch figure, of course, so many dinosaur collectors have lamented over the years that we never got a Raquel Welch figure, but be that as it may, maybe somebody will make a custom one day to fit these. Who knows? But also, well, let me do the little Pteranodon's eye view thing here with the camera. Then I got a couple more things to show you. Then we'll wind this up because this is going long. As the Pteranodon soars around and looks down at all the carnage below, or potential carnage. Of course, there's that pretty metallic silver Chronosaurus. You know, and he goes in the lake. I mean, where else are you going to put him? I did a custom dinosaur playset several years ago, and it's really heavy on lake pieces. I cut out and also rivers. I cut out a lot of streams and rivers and lakes of different sizes and rafts for the cavemen to ride on and all that. Gonna do a video on that one day. It just, you know, takes time to get to all this stuff. But now that I finally got the ball rolling, I'm going to try to stick with it and get some content on the tube there. And there's another look at the box. Beautiful graphics, classic little Magic Marxy action there. And also, if you want to see Black Magic Marxy, the corruption of the elf Magic Marxy, you can check out my video on my custom playset for the Haunted Graveyard playset. And I'm going to show you a couple of things here before we wind it up. Now, speaking of Magic Marxy, there he is. There's a wee little figure of Magic Marxy. I bought this from an eBay seller. I'm certain these were repopped. I think the original story is that Louis Marx had a bunch of these made to give to some of his friends and business connections. But I know that Marx collectors might find that interesting. Many people that go through this video are going to think that's a bunch of BS, but there you go. That's collector stuff. And also, I've got a couple of original bin items. Now, this potbelly T-Rex has nothing to do with this set, but I bought it around the same time maybe at that hobby shop where I bought the original square box set that I had as a kid. And you see that he's got a price which you can no longer read. This was stamped on his belly there, on his big pot belly. And I believe it was 10 cents. Now I think that, you know, a lot of these that were sold in bins, especially these big figures like a potbelly T-Rex, were sold for more than 10 cents, maybe up to a quarter. But, you know, I believe this was a dime. I seem to remember that. I could be wrong. I mean, we're talking about a 5-year-old kid here, but seems like that was a dime. That's the bin item of the potbelly T-Rex. Here's another bin item, this Brontosaurus. There you can see the faint remnants of a price stamp there, it looks like. Don't know what it was priced at, have no idea. Picked this up in a lot of stuff on eBay a long time ago. And you don't see many of these that have the prices on them like that. I've never seen one with a sticker. They always just stamped them or threw them in a bin that was marked on the outside of the bin, you know, because they were such cheap items back then. Stores didn't pay a lot of attention to stuff like that. I mean, they were, you know, small change. But to collectors, they're kind of a big deal now. Okay, well, I've gone over along with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe, you know, some of the knowledge will help you complete one of these sets if you want to. Also, oh yeah, I need to mention this. There were some variations of the amount of or the types of dinosaurs, the mole groupings in this set. Now, there were, as far as I know, in all the square box sets, there were 31 dinosaurs total. But whereas this one had the revised mole group, marbled, and 3 extra figures outside of the complete mole groups, there were some that had 2 shots of the medium mole group and did not have the revised mole group. And they had like 5 extra figures. You know, probably, and I think maybe in some cases the large mole group might have been present in that. But, you know, there was some variance there. When you build your own set, do your own thing, have fun with it, make it how you want it. But you will not be far from history if you go by those guidelines as far as the mole groupings. And you have your 31 dinosaurs in there. And, you know, if you want to build one of these sets that were an exception to the rule, like mine with the cavemen, well, then throw a set of 6 cavemen in there with them, just like I did, because that was the way I bought it new when I was a kid. It had the cavemen, and it was not a Montgomery Ward's exclusive, unless that hobby shop that we bought it at somehow bought overstock from Montgomery Ward's. I don't know. It seems pretty unlikely, but who knows. But anyway, the majority, I think, of the square box sets, though, except for the Montgomery Ward exclusive, did not have the cavemen. It was just that occasionally they'd throw a set of cavemen in there, evidently. So there we go. That's the Marx Prehistoric Times, number 3394 from 1960. Have a great day, and I'll see you next go around.